tonight you're joining Rita D. Word at a fireside chat. She's just read the Word and is thinking about a few things and wrapped her little presents up getting ready for the holidays. Sweet little Jesus boy, born long time ago, sweet little holy child, we didn't know who you was. I love that song. Y'all like that song? Isn't it beautiful? It's kind of sad too, though, in a way, because it's like, how in the world did the sovereign of this universe come down and nobody knew he was here? Now, what kind of sense does that make? He was born in a stable. I'm sure it didn't smell too good in there. And was laid in a manger. Y'all know what a manger is? That's a cattle box, a cattle feed box where they feed the cattle and the sheep and the goats. And that's where they put his precious little body in the straw in there, just like that. Just awful as far as I'm concerned, but I'm glad he came. But how come nobody knew he was supposed to be coming, especially all of them who claimed that they knew he was coming and was looking for the Messiah? That's what I don't understand. Now, see, the thing of it was back in that time, the Jews were under the Roman rule, and they weren't feeling that too good. So what they was really praying for was somebody to deliver them from the Romans and not so much from their sins. That's what it was. That's why nobody seemed to know that the Christ child was coming, but that's okay, because his father made sure that everybody did. Now, see, he had a little shower plan for his son. Yes, he did. And what he did was he sent out personal invitations. Only a few got them, though. Not everybody, I want you to know. Didn't come by way of USPS. Didn't come by way of Evite on the email either. It came by Celestial Serenade. Thank you very much. I can imagine it. Those shepherds were sitting there watching their flock by night, just huddled over, maybe by a little campfire, and the sheep were out grazing for the night. And all of a sudden, it went something like this. Man, what is going on over there? What is all that noise and all of them lights? What is that? I don't know. I don't know, and I don't even want to know. I'm finna get on up out of here. Getting up out of here? Where you think you going? You can't go nowhere. You see all these sheeps out here just grazing. How you gonna go somewhere? Man, don't you know you try to leave and these sheep be done run away or somebody be done stole them and then they'll send you under the debtor's prison. They can't put me in no prison even I'm dead. Dead? How you gonna die out here with just some little old sheep? That star be done killed me. A star? How's a star gonna kill you? If anybody gonna kill you, might be me. When you ever heard tell of a star killing nobody? Well, I ain't never heard no star killing nobody, but I ain't never heard no star singing neither. That star right there, it's singing. Honey, it must have taken half of the night for those poor angels to try and convince them shepherds to not be so afraid and to go on down there to the stable and worship the Christ child. But once they got there, they understood and they worshiped him in spirit and in truth. That was one invitation. But the real invitation was when the good Lord sent that serenade on over to the wise men of the East. Now see, with that one, they already knew the stars because they had studied them all their lives and the constellation and all that. So when they saw that big star up in the sky and it was beckoning them to just come on over to Bethlehem because they had some news for them, honey, they dropped everything lock, stock, and barrel and made their way on over there to Bethlehem. But because they were wise men and they was on a road trip and they was of that gender, nobody was trying to ask nobody else for no directions. So needless to say, wandering around, but made their way to the palace of King Herod. Now, it makes sense to me. I do understand, so I'm not real mad at him, that if it's the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords who has been born, that he would be born in a palace, right? But when they get there, and they start talking to Herod, and he is not the baby daddy, and there has been no baby born in his palace, well, you talk about a scandal. It did break out at that point. But Herod was cool. He kept it all to himself with his paranoid, bipolar self. Kept it to himself and said, you guys go on and find the Christ child and bring me back the information, and that way I too can worship him. Wasn't that something? He had no intentions of worshiping the baby Jesus. He wanted him dead, dead, dead. But that's okay, because the wise men went on about their way, and do you know what they did? They found the baby Jesus. And it was so beautiful when they found him. They gave him their little gifts of sacrificial love, and it was just precious. And because they gave those gifts over 2,000 years ago, that started a tradition. The same one that we have to this day where we give gifts too. But the thing of it is we have just so distorted it and turned it around and mixed it all up, it's just become a mess now. But when they gave those gifts, they gave it to the little baby Jesus. And that's what I think Christmas should be about too, giving it to the little cheerings. That's what you're supposed to do. I can't even imagine them wise men getting up at old dark 100 on Black Friday to go and stand in somebody's line all around the neighborhood to get some electronics. That don't make no kind of sense to me. Anytime you decide to try and take Christ out of Christmas, you winds up with a M-A-S mess. Just no doubt about it. That's just how that is. Now, you would think that that was the end of the story. But do you remember when I told you about how Herod had told the wise men to come back through Jerusalem and let him know what baby Jesus was so that he could worship him? So what had happened was, it's a good thing that you and I serve a God who does not sleep and who does not slumber. Because he had his hand all in this master plan. While the wise men slept, just before they were getting ready to go back to their hometown, they had a dream that woke them up, and I think it went something like this. Hey, boo, 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 boo. Don't be no scared, nothing like that. It's just me, your recalculated angel, coming to tell you I do not want you to go home back through Jerusalem, okay? Yes, oh Holy One, I understand, but we've spoken to the king and we all but promised that we would return through Jerusalem. And if we don't do so, well, it would be almost disobedient. I mean, that could cost us our heads. I understand what you're saying, but there is so much drama going on over there in the palace that it would not behoove you to go that way, okay? So I'm telling you, take the long way home. Look here. I don't have time to try and explain to you the ins and the outs, the ups and the downs. Ain't nobody got time for that. So just do what I say, be like Nike, and just do it, okay? Okay, why are you looking at me like that? I'm speaking English. What's wrong with you? Why are you looking at me like that? Well, not to be impertinent, but it's just that it's 2000 BC. Whatever is Nike? So God told them which way to go, and it was not through Jerusalem, and sent them on a totally different trip, and that was for their own good. But he also told Joseph in his dream that he had to get on up and take Mary and the baby Jesus away as well. Do you know why? It was important that he take them to Egypt so that they could be safe from that madman Herod. Because Herod figured it out at some point. He said, the wise men have duped me, and he was upset. He was fit to be tied. Do you know he went in such a tyrant and in such a rage that he killed had made a decree, killed all the male babies 2 years and under trying to get a hold to Jesus. Isn't that horrible? Made all those poor baby mamas and baby daddies just weeping and a wailing. And that had been prophesied 600 years before. It was something awful. But again, like I said before, like I tell you, anytime you don't have Christ in the midst of something worth anything in your life, you are going to have a capital M-A-S, mess. Now don't get me wrong, Sister Rita D. Word loves to celebrate Christmas and all the other holidays just like everybody else. I loves to wrap my gifts, loves to read the Word, I loves to sing the Christmas songs and even drink a little bit of warm apple cider. All I'm saying is this: it just don't really pay to get yourself all wrapped up in this frenzy and hustle and bustle and the frenzy of the holidays, getting yourself in all this debt, especially because it was a baby that came to pay the debt, the true debt, to get you all out of your sin over 2,000 years ago. So, with that said, you all know Sister Rita D. Word. She is not one to gossip. She is not one to judge, and she really does try to stay in her own lane. So all of this that you got from me this night, you ain't got none of it here from me.